Hi, in this video I'm going to introduce you to membership types, agreements and discounts. So membership types are what your audience use to subscribe to your library in order to borrow items. So that's membership types. Agreements are what you can use to restrict access to certain items or certain categories. So we'll create an agreement that provides access to dangerous items. And then discounts are a reduction in fees for either items or further memberships or events. Okay, so if you're a member, you'd go to My Account, and they don't currently have a membership unless they sign up for one. So creating an account on your library is step 1, and then choosing a membership is step 2. Here we've got a couple of membership types which is set up in admin. If we go admin, settings, membership types, we can see that there are a couple here. Here's also where we have discounts and agreements, and I'll come back to that shortly. But first of all, let's go to the member site and we'll subscribe to a membership. These memberships don't have a price, so I won't be asked to pay. Because I'm logged in as a staff member, I can see that there's this one which is admin only, or this one which is for the public. Before we actually subscribe to those, I'm going to go in and I'm going to show you what that looks like in admin. So the temporary one is self-serve, which means that people can choose it by themselves. I won't go into detail of every field here, but what I will do is I will say we'll put a terms and conditions URL on here, which might be off to your other website, for example, or you could actually put the terms on the page. And we're not worrying about discount. This is a standard membership for borrowing items. I have to put a description in, which is here, and save. Great. So now if we go member site, My Account, choose membership, and I'll choose the temporary membership. I have to agree to the terms and conditions, and you can have different T's and C's for different types of memberships, and then simply agree and continue. So because I'm admin, it's taken me to the contact screen here, and we can see that I have an active temporary membership. There was one that expired earlier this year. That now lets me borrow items, and I could drop in and borrow anything that's online. That's a membership. Now let's move on to agreements. What I want to do is I want to restrict access to this SOAR only to people that have completed a safety test. So let's go and we'll create that agreement in settings, agreements, add an agreement, and it's a certification or an agreement, and we'll call it dangerous items test or something like that. We could put a description in, that's essential, and if it's not self-serve, people can't choose themselves that agreement. It's active, it doesn't have a cost, it's valid for a year. You can add terms and conditions for this specific agreement if you wanted to. We're not worrying about a discount. We do want to require admin approval. So what that means is that they can request access to this, and then they have to come and do the test, and only admin can approve this membership or this agreement. Let's say for our particular library, we also get a test approval number, and this box means that the admin has to put that approval number in when they approve that agreement. We're going to limit this agreement, so we restrict access in a number of different ways. We call it the scope. What we can do is we can either hide the dangerous items until the member's got this agreement. We can let them see it but not let them borrow it, not let them reserve it. Or we could actually let them reserve it, but you can't check out until the member's got this agreement. Let's say the safest or the easiest way for demo is prevent reservation, so we'll do that. They'll be able to see the dangerous items, but they can't reserve them until they've got the access agreement. You can limit the agreement to have valid dates if you want, limit it to specific products or specific categories, and I've created a dangerous items category for that. So that is now created and it's active. Let's go member site, dangerous items, And we can now see that items can only be reserved by members once they've got the Dangerous Items Agreement. Dropping into it is there. Now, it's worth pointing out that because I'm admin, I can still borrow this. If I was a member, I wouldn't be able to see these borrow buttons. So, what the member would do is they would see this button to get access if you'd made the agreement self-serve. Clicking that shows them about that agreement, and then they submit the request. It shows this agreement as requiring approval, so they can see it's pending. They'll have just received an email saying your agreement is pending approval. As staff members or admin, you'll now get this little box on the dashboard for every membership awaiting approval. And this works for every membership type, agreement or discount. So as soon as you require admin approval, it'll go through this extra step, and you can actually use this for your regular library memberships. It's not just for agreements and not just for discounts. So let's go and approve that membership, or approve that agreement if you like. It's a slightly different name for the same concept. And here is that certification number. So let's have a number that we've got off the test paperwork and approve the membership. Now when we go to Dangerous Items and drop in, we can see that this particular person has an active agreement for that particular item. So that's a concept for a requiring approval process. You create the agreement and then you add people to it, or if it's self-serve, they can click themselves, get access, and then you run the agreement process as your library wishes, whether it's a test or maybe it's checking ID or anything like that that you want to gate items. Nice. Okay, now what we'll do is we'll go and have a look at some discounts. We will create a discount which gives, let's say, 50% off every item on the system. No, let's go every item within the kids category, or even specifically 50% off the baby walker. So I know that this is product ID 6. If we go into edit, it doesn't say here because it's just off screen for you, but in the URL I can see that it's ID 6. So settings, discounts, add discount, let's call it 50% off baby walkers for February if you wanted. And then description you'd have to put in here. We're not going to charge for this discount. Generally discounts are not self-serve because you don't want to make it obvious that they're there, but I'll show you how people access them. If you had terms and conditions, you can do so. Here's where we put the discount percentage in. This discount will just apply to item fees, and call it baby 50. We're not actually going to require approval. We're just going to let them put that code in, and then they'll have that discount. And then specifically, it was item 6 we wanted to restrict it to. Great. So that's baby 50. Let's go to the member site and have a look here. It is £10 per week. That's before the discount. Because the discount is not public, it's not self-serve, there's no way that they can see what the discounts might be. If they go to my account, memberships, they can see that there's the temporary membership, we signed them up to start with, they've got the dangerous items test, and here is an additional access or coupon code that they could put in. So that was baby 50, wasn't it? And go. It's not found or not available for self-service. Okay, so this is my account. I'm not browsing as. So let's browse as somebody. Who have we got? Have we got somebody called Chris? No, that's me. We got a demo customer. Yes, we do. So we browse as demo member, and then we go into memberships and baby 50. Did I get the code right? Let's have a look. I'm just going to pop a separate tab, settings, membership types, even discounts. Baby 50. Yes, I'm not quite sure why that's not coming up, but let me choose yes for self-serve. And now if we go baby 50, activated. There we go. So I think it does actually need to be self-serve, but it doesn't show anywhere for them to pick from. So there we are. So 50% off baby walkers, and let's go kids, all kids stuff, and you see it how it's come from £10 a week down to £5 a week. So that's a discount. We covered membership types briefly, we've covered agreements briefly, we've covered discounts, and let's just go back in and show you versioning. Let's say that we had an agreement, that dangerous items test. Maybe each year you have to update the test and therefore update the terms and conditions. What you'd do then is you'd create a new version of this membership agreement. All you need to do is open it up and click Create New Version. What that does is it archives the current version, creates a new copy, but it doesn't affect anything that's happened in the past. So that's the new dangerous items test. It looks the same, but it's just a different version. And you can tell what version people were on when they signed up at Reports, Memberships. So here is the dangerous items test, but that's the version up until the 27th of April this year. So subsequent agreements will use the active version. So there we go. That is, I believe, everything I want to show you. We've covered discounts, we've covered agreements. It's easy to see how many people you've got on each membership type or discount. And I'll leave you with that. More detail is on the help on screen.